Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. I thought it was long overdue that I did a sort of full walk round of the shrimp room, or the room. It was originally a shrimp room, but we've since got frogs and spiders and ice pods and stuff like that. So give you guys a bit of a mini tour and a bit of a quick walk around the room. Let's get to it. From the house then into the shrimp room itself. So what we're going to do is just step down and we'll turn left to start off with. So what we have as soon as we turn left is my tasks board. We also have, I'll see if I can zoom this out a bit. So this is into the porch and into the house. And then what we've got is I've got a rack with various bits on. I've got some other racks over here. Currently got my roll of blue tissue there, and then moving down we've got our tank that we did a few weeks ago with the green jades in, who are doing well. They're quite hard to spot on the black substrate, but they're doing well. There's plenty in there. So moving along, I've got a plant, so some moss in there that I'm just keeping lit. I've got light in here that I use for my filming, and then down here you'll have already seen this video moving the MBs, so we can see one if we just look carefully. So one of the adults. And moving along, I've got a little laptop and all my filming equipment, sink that we're waiting to get plumbed in, and obviously there's stuff below these as well. So my fire extinguisher, I've got camera equipment down there, some drawers with bits that I use, and a set of plastic drawers, and then obviously my cupboard underneath the sink, tripod that we use for filming. And then moving up, we've got our spider house. Again, another rack with air stones, air valves, stuff like that on air lines, and a heat mat that's just sitting there. Next to that, I've got my dehumidifier, and below that we've got our AC, which is turned into a heat source in the winter. Then we've got racks of product, so soils and heavy stuff down on the bottom. The door to the outside, and then we'll go right to the end of the room and we'll look at rack one. So starting at the top of rack one, I've got all the bits and pieces that I use, and then moving down we've got a mixed tiger tank. You can see me in the background because I've got the lights on. We've got our dragon bloods, and then our tangerine tigers, and if you've been watching this, I've blacked the tank out. On the rack below we've got a small 25 litre, so all those on the top are small 25 litre. We've got a small 25 litre with orange eye blue tigers. Then we've got our blue bolts, these are 50 litre tanks. Then we've got I've just noticed the dead one in there. So then we've got our spotted pintos. I'll get that dead one out. Our orange eye red devils, and then just in front of me I've got my bin. So this bin is where I keep my mixed water, and I've got that on wheels. I can move that around as I need to. And then if we go down the bottom, these are 50 litres as well. So we've got our mixed tank, our galaxies, higher grade fancy tigers, and on the bottom there we've got, that's an empty tank. And then underneath here I've got some storage, so shrimp lollies are all in sealed plastic containers. I've got my air pump there for that rack, and this is a spare one that I need to just tuck in, but I've got my air pump for that rack. And then if we move along to the next rack, at the moment I'm missing a tank off the top of here, so I do need to reseal that and put that in. We've got a tank that's cycling with Tai Cheng powder. We've got our orange neos that I'm going to get rid of, and I've got some plans for this tank. Then we've got our red neos and amanos, and there's a few snails in each of these, rabbit snails and nerites. Moving down on this rack, We've got some low to medium grade fancy tigers and pure white line. And then on the bottom of here, we've got tubs of storage. So there's a lot of botanicals down here, bits of soil, etc., etc. Onto the last rack then. Well, no, it's not the last rack actually. So we've got the two terrariums, frog tank. These are Santa Isabels. We've got our other terrarium to the right of that I've not filled yet, and at the moment I've got a pothos hanging here. So I do like the plants in there. I did manage to kill one. Below that then we've got our bloodshots, which were recently moved, our red galaxies, which were recently moved, and then we've got our experiment tanks with some of the fancy tigers and some of the galaxies, and the galaxies have had babies. Now, because I didn't do sort of massively well with my pure red lines, I've actually put them in a little breeder box. There's 6 left and somebody's going to collect those off me. And again, underneath that we've got storage. I've got some steps here that I use, and then behind these 2 racks is my other air pump. So my other air pump runs the 2 smaller racks. Let's put this bucket down. Moving along then, I've got my pump up sprayer, some soils on the bottom of there, my vacuum that I use in the room, which once I'm finished will be sort of out in that little side piece. I've got my 2 racks of pods, so I won't go through each of these pods, but you can add, there's 2 rows of these, so I'm not pulling them all out, just to get an idea of what's there. And then above that we've got some more stock. I've got some internal filter pumps, different sizes. I've got some empty tubs for fly culturing, for feeding the spiders and the frogs. And then we've got some packing materials up there. So there's little zip bags, there's bits and pieces everywhere, to be honest. Little zip bags, various different cardboard boxes and sizes. And then here I've got fruit flies at different stages. So this one's sort of full almost. I've used that to feed the frogs today. This one's sort of intermediate, so it's there's fly pupae there, but they haven't hatched, and this is a relatively new one. And then up on the top we've got more packing material. So the top is more for shrimp packing and stuff. And then finally, if we sort of move over to the sides, I've got more stock of nets. So it is obviously a small room. Nets, various botanicals, sponge filters. And once I've cleaned and finished everything in here, anything that's down there on the bottom will go. And I'm hoping to put that pegboard up there, so I can probably do like a botanicals pegboard. Last couple of things in here then are posters on the door. And if you haven't seen these already, I've got posters on the ceilings, and obviously my smoke alarm and stuff. And the yellow things are for fungus gnats. They're fly traps that I change regularly in here because of the pods. And then sort of moving over, I know you guys have probably seen this already, we've got our fly zapper that goes off every now and then, but we're definitely on top of them. And if we just quickly turn this around, I want to show you, because she has come out to say hello. Don't know if I can zoom. And there's Yoshi. Come to see us. Sorry for the shaky hand, guys. So I've never done it before, a room tour, and I thought it was probably worth doing. I know that people that have watched this right from the beginning know that I kept my dad's chair. So I've still got my dad's chair in here. Zoom that out a little bit. So I do still have my dad's chair in here, and if you've been on a live and you've seen the boxes behind me, this tends to be where I sit when I do a live and put the camera on this desk. And then what you can see here, I've got a couple of bags, a bit of sponge, and a poly box ready for an order to go out Tuesday. So I'll catch that Tuesday shrimp order, obviously. and various bits of packing, but I tend to do my packing in the house, so I'll collect it. Sometimes I do it in here, but more often than not I do it in the house, because my printer and my label printer and everything's in there. But I'll give you guys one last view of the room. So it isn't tiny, but it's not massive either. You know, I think I've probably maximise the space to the best of my ability. It'd be nice if I could have an upstairs to this. Chance of an extension would be lovely, because I think if I could, what I'd probably do is I'd have this full of animals, and upstairs would be a stock room. So every, you know, and I'd probably take a desk up there and do everything up there from a stock perspective, and have this room fully as an animal room, you know. So I hope you've enjoyed that. As always, if you enjoyed this or any of our content, please consider subscribing, because it helps massively. And until next time, take care everybody. Bye bye.